Today's the day. Not putting it off any longer. I am here to unhaul 50 books. It's been a while. My first I did like a year and a half ago now. You know, doing booktube for a while, you start to form opinions about books, and also you start to realize that there are some books on your TBR that you're never actually going to read. That's like the two types of books that I have on my TBR, and also I've got duplicate copies. And just a disclaimer, I do have somebody that I'm giving all these books to, so I'm sorry, I cannot ship these out to you. Look, I do not mean to offend you in any way by unhauling these books. This is my personal opinion, these are my shelves, and it's my decision whether I want to keep these books on my shelves or not. I'm just doing this to make me feel happy and make me feel free from having the commitment of either reading these books or have the freedom and commitment of just letting go of the books I personally didn't enjoy on my shelves. And so that's why I'm getting rid of these books. If you guys hate me for getting rid of your favorite book, I'm sorry. There are many other booktubers that might like your favorite book. Unfortunately, in this case, that wasn't me. I'm sorry about that. This is gonna be a pretty unpopular opinion video, but you know what? It's seriously been almost a year since I planned to do this unhaul, and now I couldn't care less if people hate me or not for this, because I've just been waiting for so long to get rid of these books, and I am getting rid of these books, so deal with that, I guess. Here we are, unhauling 50 books. I'm gonna get started with them right now. I'm gonna start off with a duplicate copy. Do not think that I'm throwing this away. Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. The only reason why I'm getting rid of this is because it's a duplicate copy. I've already got a copy. However, this one is the one I have a very strong opinion about. Yeah, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. I'm getting rid of this because I hate the protagonist. It's a mediocre book for me. It has a very great format. I did enjoy reading it because like I did laugh at times, but then looking back at it, like I don't actually like the book. I wasn't really enjoying it because of the character development. I was just enjoying it because of the format and jokes that were happening in here, but I did not like the character development that was done in here, so I'm gonna say goodbye to this book. The next two books I have on this list are from a very beloved author, and I'm going to be getting rid of her books because I don't think I am ever going to be reading them. First time I tried to read the first book that I'm going to mention, I stopped and I was just not having a good time, and that was during Bell's palsy, and I needed to pick me up. It's also like cheesy and romantic stuff that I'm not really a big fan of anyway. So the first book from her that I'm getting rid of is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, and it's Morgan Matson. I tried, and everyone's like, oh yeah, the playlists are cool. Well, like, I don't really like the songs that are on the playlist anyways. Yeah, I'm planning to get rid of this because it's just not my thing. The next one that is from her that I'm gonna get rid of is the one that had the most promising synopsis. I don't know if I am gonna read it or not. Maybe one day I might be in a mood for it, but I'm gonna get rid of it for now, and that is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. Pretty much this has to do with a bucket list that needs to be done by the end of summer. For me, that sounded very intriguing, but this is even chunkier. This is like twice the size as Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, and this was brutal to get through. Like, everybody that loves this book loves this book for some reason, like at least that's what I've heard, and so I can't. I don't think I'm really gonna read Morgan Matson's books in the future. The only reason why is because they're just not my thing. Sorry about that. The next book that I'm planning to get rid of is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, the movie tie-in edition. It's okay, I have the original edition. They match the series. This one doesn't match the series, so I'm getting rid of it. The next book, I have been so unsure whether I should get rid of it or not, but I am gonna get rid of it because I don't see myself rereading it in the near future. That's Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. I actually bought this book like the month that it came out. I was so excited for it, and then the hype died down when the poor reviews came in, and then I read this book for myself like a year later, and I can't say I was impressed. It was fun, and it has to do with a girl who is a self-proclaimed fat girl or something like that, and she goes into a beauty pageant, and that sounds awesome. The premise alone sounded amazing. It wasn't for me. The next book is The Outliers by Kimberly McBride. The reason why I bought this one was because it was at one of those book stands where you could get a bunch of books for cheap, and so I just picked this one up. And also I saw Reese Witherspoon Instagram this, and I was just like, oh my gosh, Reese Witherspoon likes a young adult book. I may as well pick it up. I tried getting through the first chapter and it was okay. It's just, I don't know if it's my thing. I might give it a chance in the future, but for now, I don't see myself reading this in the near future. Next one is one that people are going to hate me for, but I don't see myself reading this one anytime soon, and if I do end up reading this one, I'm probably gonna get it from the library, so I don't see why now I should have it on my bookshelf if I know that I'm not gonna read it ASAP. That's Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I've had this book a couple of years now, and I actually tried reading this straight after I read Allegiant in order to get me sucked into a new world, and I couldn't. I tried reading the first 6 chapters, and it was brutal to get through for me personally. Crime thriller books aren't really books that I'm really drawn to. Any other ones I'm not too interested in, so I'm gonna get rid of this one for now. Like, it's not like I'm gonna ask for this one back, but in the future, if I am in the mood for something like this, then I'll go to the library and get it. The next book I'm getting rid of is First Life by Gina Showalter. This is actually an advanced reader copy. I was given this at Teen Con. I never really was interested in this. I was just given it, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Next we have Love Rosie by Cecilia Ahern. Now, I am interested in Cecilia Ahern's Flawed duology. That duology sounds very fascinating to me, but personally, I'm not a fan of romance. Like, if romance takes the main plot in the series, I'm not really a fan of that, personally. And this is a chunker of a book. It's like 500 pages, and I've already watched the movie. I loved the movie so much, but I'm not interested in reading this at all. So these next couple of books are gonna be so shocking to anybody that knows me very well, because they're John Green books, technically. So the first one I have is An Abundance of Catherines. I'm not getting rid of this book because I hated it. I actually love this book. I just have another edition. But the next two books were co-written with John Green, and I'm not the biggest fan of them, to be honest. That is Will Grayson, and Let It Snow. Personally, my least favorite of the two is Let It Snow. I liked John Green's story. I kind of liked Maureen Johnson's story. I did not like Lauren Miracle's story, and so I can't really justify keeping this one because it's a gorgeous cover. It's just, I don't think I'm ever gonna really reread it in the future. And with Will Grayson, this edition kind of doesn't match the rest of my John Green books. And also, like, I'm not the biggest fan of this book. I liked it, like, it was fun. Again, I love John Green's part of the story. I didn't really like David Levithan's part of the story, to be honest. Like, they were just eh. Again, can't justify keeping this if I'm never going to reread it. Next, I have a duology. It's the Pivot Point duology, which consists of Pivot Point and Split Second. Tried reading, like, the first couple of pages. I really couldn't get into it, and I only just purchased this because I wanted a duology that, like, I think Catty-tastic talked about on our channel, and Catty-tastic was reading it and she liked it, but I don't know if I'm really going to enjoy this one, to be honest. If I was to be very, very honest, I actually don't really know what this one's about, but the covers look kind of awesome, and I honestly don't know if I'm going to enjoy this one, to be honest, or if I'm just going to think it's okay. So yeah, for now, I'm just going to say goodbye to it. If I ever feel like I'm in the mood to read it, yeah, I'll pick it up, but for now, I don't think I'm going to be in the mood to pick it up. Next, we have The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. The reason why I'm getting rid of this one is because, guess what? I have two of the same edition on my shelf. I bought this one ages ago, but I purchased the C.S. Lewis Signature Classics box set, and they're the same. So I'm getting rid of this one. So the next couple of books I'm going to mention are also books that I got at discount book stands, because the more you buy, like, the more you save. The first one I'm going to show you is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. The cover is beautiful, and everybody really likes Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I did have interest in reading this one at one point, but I don't at the moment, and maybe one day I might pick it up at the library, but at the moment I'm just not in a contemporary kick, and at one point I just kept on picking up a bunch of contemporaries that I know that I'm never gonna read, so I don't think I'm ever gonna really read this one. I'm sorry. Next is Falling Into Place by Amy Zhang. This one does sound interesting to me, but at the moment don't see myself reading this book in the near future, but it doesn't mean that I'm not really interested in its premise. I don't see why I should keep it on my shelf, at least for now. Then Never Bargain book I got because Bargain Books was the first book in the series of Unfortunate Events series by Lemony Snicket. I have the box set now, so I don't actually need this one. If I Stay by Gail Forman. This book, I remember when it was so popular, when it, you know, the movie came out and stuff. It wasn't the car crash or the coma part that I was just so annoyed about. There was just some characters in here that I just didn't really like, and you know what? It's time to cut it out of my life. I've had this book on my shelf for like 3 years now, and I think it's time to get rid of it. Next book I have to mention is In Between Days by Vicky Wakefield. So this book I was just given in the goodie bag for Senior Writers Festival. Again, just like First Life. It doesn't seem interesting to me, so I'm not really gonna keep it. Never unpopular one I have to talk about. Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. So I took a Twitter poll to see if it was worth keeping Passenger, and majority of you guys said it's not worth reading because it's just boring. I think I just need to get rid of it because I'm not the biggest fan of time travel anyway. Alexandra Bracken, I know she's a good writer because I've read The Darkest Minds, but I'm not the biggest fan of time travel, and I'm a big fan of dystopian, and so that's why I enjoy The Darkest Minds, but I don't think I'm gonna enjoy Passenger, and I heard Wayfarer is even worse. Yeah, I think it's time to get rid of it. The next book I have on here has a stunning cover, but that shouldn't be justification for why I should keep it, because that's the only redeeming quality about it. Couldn't have eaten by Joey Graceffa. I like looking at this book and keeping it only because it brought the first Video Squad live show where everybody did not like the book. I love looking back at the live show and seeing the opinions we had for it. The reason why we all didn't like it is because it had a lot of writing inconsistencies. It could have been improved on. The premise was very promising, and I seriously wanted to give this book a chance. I couldn't. I'm sorry, and I don't know if I'm going to be reading the sequel or not. Guys, let me know if the sequel's any good. So let's talk about it over cover by The Winner's Trilogy by Marie Rakowski. I am going to get rid of these books. I've read every single one of them, and I was just not a fan. Look how beautiful these covers are. They are gorgeous. I have to admit, I purchased them because the covers were pretty, and because everybody just kept on saying that it was a great series, and it was underrated, and people needed to read it. But I discovered that it's underrated because it's not for everyone. That's what I talked about in a wrap-up video. I've just decided that I'm going to get rid of these. I know that the covers are pretty, but if They're not gonna make me happy. If I'm gonna see them every single time and I'm gonna cringe and be like, oh, I wish I liked that series, but I didn't, then it's not worth keeping. Similar situation to this next book, except I didn't hate this next book. I found it to be meh for me, and that is This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. I have read both This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet. I was trying to justify whether to buy Our Dark Duet by actually listening to the audiobook, and I did enjoy Our Dark Duet a lot more than I enjoyed this one. However, the series isn't the greatest series for me, and I really don't like this cover. I wish that they could just stick to the US cover concept for this series, but no, they didn't, and so I can't justify buying another ugly cover in this series if I'm never gonna reread the series. The next book I have on here is Royce Rolls by Margaret Stoll. No, this isn't the copy I read. I was sent a second copy by Bloomsbury Australia. I've even got the review copy paper in it. The reason why I have a second copy is because the publicist forgot that she sent me a copy, and so she sent me a second one. That's totally fine. I wasn't mad at all because I can give this one to my friend now. The next book that I'm planning to get rid of will be Lady Helen in the Dark Days Club by Alison Goodman. I intended to read this book, and I still do actually intend to read this book. The reason why I'm getting rid of this book is because of its edition. Just so you guys know, I was given this edition for free, again, at Sydney Writers Festival like a year ago now. I do not like this cover, and I thought that the second book cover might be able to redeem it. No, the second book cover is even worse. I personally don't like the Australian covers for these. Even though they had a cover change, I still think that the US covers are the best. I'm gonna be getting rid of it because I don't think I could ever see myself reading this edition. So at the time that I do feel like reading the series, I'm going to repurchase them in better editions because I really don't like these editions. Next I have Soundless by Rochelle Mead. So this is a Rochelle Mead book on my bookshelf that I haven't yet read, and I don't think I will read. The reason why is because apparently it's a very poor standalone. Apparently the mythology is very poorly done, and personally I'm not actually interested in this book series or even the Glittering Court for that matter. Like, yeah, I don't think I'm ever really gonna read Soundless, and if I was to, I'd probably like listen to it on audiobook and get it done within a couple of hours. The next book I have on here is like a bind up of two classics that I just don't think I'm gonna keep. So it's Treasure Island and Kidnap. I honestly don't know if I'm gonna read these books. Just purchased them because I was just collecting random classics at the time. Next we have Frozen Tides by Morgan Rhodes. Do you guys want to know the reason why I'm getting rid of this one? It's because of this. I got sent 2 copies from the book depository. I thought I had pre-ordered Crystal Storm, which is the 5th book in the series. I accidentally ordered 2 copies of Frozen Tides. I still haven't read Frozen Tides, by the way, but I'm not going to be keeping 2 copies of a book that I regret purchasing. I mean, I don't regret purchasing 1 copy, but I purchased 2, and I couldn't get my money back for it. I was so mad. You guys have no idea. Of course, it's about time I got rid of the series because I kind of talk trash about it all the time. The Reboot Duology by Amy Tintera. I will be getting rid of the series. I don't have any shame or regrets in getting rid of it. I seriously have more shame in buying it because I purchased it based off of a couple of people's opinions saying that it's literally just like Divergent. It was not like Divergent. I was severely disappointed. I'm sorry. And the covers are horrible too, so you guys, I'll be cutting out of my life. So these next books, a lot of people are going to be like, G-Swizz, why are you getting rid of these books? But I have to, because the first book I didn't really like, and I know that the second book I don't think I'm really gonna like either. Again, I did a Twitter poll asking people if they think that I'm actually gonna like the second book, and majority of the people say no. And so I just decided I'm gonna get rid of this series, and I don't think I'm ever really gonna continue on with the series. An Ember in the Ashes and Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. These are beautiful hardcovers, and I think Anna does really enjoy the series, and I will be giving these to Anna anyway, so Anna, look out for these beautiful editions coming your way, because I honestly don't think I'm gonna be able to finish the series. I purchased this one and I pre-ordered this book because I was afraid that I would be in such a book hangover after reading this book. That's why I purchased this one, and the covers are beautiful, guys, but I can't justify keeping them if I don't think I'm ever really gonna read A Torch Against the Night. I have no motivation to pick up A Torch Against the Night, and I've forgotten almost everything about An Ember in the Ashes. I'm gonna keep books that I enjoy, and so with this one, I'm gonna have to say goodbye. A lot of people are going to be really mad at me right now, and I'm so sorry. I hate to get rid of your favorite series, but I know that these books aren't really gonna make me happy, and I know Sabaa Tahir is an awesome author. I really love hearing her opinions online. I feel like she's a very important person to be heard out, but personally, it's not a series that I'm actually engaged in, and so that's why I'm gonna have to say goodbye to these books off my shelf. I think the rest of the books I have here are duplicate copies. Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. This is the first book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series, because officially I have the US hardback. This cover looks cool, but this color scheme is everything for me. Next 2 books I will be getting rid of will be Red Queen and Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. Like I said before, duplicate copies. Decided that I'm just gonna repurchase them in hardback, and so that's what I did, and so I don't really need these tall paperbacks because they're stunning, they're so beautiful. Next, I will be saying goodbye to these babies. These babies got me through Bell's palsy. Anna, take care of these babies. I love them so much. It's the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. I will be getting rid of the Australian paperback editions. I do have the hardback editions reads now. I love this series so much. I adore it. And so that's why I had to repurchase them in hardback. So I'm gonna be giving these away to Anna because I also really want her to read the series. I know that she has to read Percy Jackson beforehand, so Anna, read Percy Jackson beforehand because that's important. Don't be intimidated. They're just really fun reads. And speaking of Rick Riordan, The Trials of Apollo, The Hidden Oracle, and The Trials of Apollo, The Dark Prophecy. This book I purchased, but this book I received as a review copy from Penguin Teen Australia. They were so awesome enough to send it to me. I was so happy that I got to promote a Rick Riordan book, and so this kind of has sentimental value, so take care of them, Anna. But yeah, so this is a spin-off series from Heroes of Olympus series. I have the very last lot. This series is very important to me. So important to me that I also had to buy duplicate copies of it. The Lunar Chronicles in paperback. These are by Marissa Meyer. These are my babies, and I'm gonna be saying goodbye to them because, again, I bought them in hardback. And I also bought Stars Above. And I have Ferris. Unfortunately, won't be able to give Anna the novella collections in this series because I didn't really have them originally. I actually listened to Ferris on audiobook and I haven't actually read Stars Above yet. I'm gonna be getting rid of these. This is kind of like how it all started. I'm so sad to be getting rid of these, but you know what? You just gotta do what you gotta do. And so, goodbye, old friends. Oh no, no, no! This is only the first round. Goodbye, my friends. Will I ever love again? I'm sorry if I'm giving anybody anxiety right now. No. That's Coke. So I smelled Coke. Not good, not good. Somebody get me some towels. How did that happen? Thumbnail? Trying to make a thumbnail and dropping a bunch of books. I have to check and see if the books are okay. I love how I'm filming this on camera, guys. So many life choices I regret. So sad I only got to have a quarter can of Coke. This is the one Coke can that I was saving for like a very busy day and it had to be destroyed. So that was a very eventful unhaul. Coke almost spilt on them. My floorboards definitely copped it. So that is gonna be for this video today, book lovers. You can follow me on my social medias. I'm at G-Swizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram. I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/G-Swizzle. Guys, you have no idea how exhausting that unhaul was to film. I'm kind of happy it's over. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you next time. Peace!